Hey, so I'm going to go over a few things. I like to put everything into a document just so it can all be in one place with the various things that I'll be going over. So, this is kind of like a recap of a few things and a few things to focus on and a few things to celebrate. So, let me jump right in. Honestly, you are doing really good with hitting your macros. And when I say hitting your macros, it's never going to be perfect. It's okay if you're, 10 or 15 grams off of your carbs or protein. The major thing to look out for is if you're significantly over your fats or under. Because especially as a woman, you don't want to be under your fat intake, like way under. And you don't want to go excessively over. But even if you do go a little bit over your calorie budget, you are still able to build muscle. And that's what we want to do, is build muscle. So if you had a few days where you were over your calories, it's okay because you're still able to build muscle. And there's going to be a point where we're going to buckle down and lean out a little bit more at that phase. But right now, we want to build that muscle. So, yeah, your macros are really good. Even if you go out to eat or travel, you're really on point, and it's one of the hardest things to do and to learn about. It's the biggest learning curve in this whole process. And typically people start off with low protein and higher fats and carbs, and they still might be in their calorie bracket that they should be around, but their macro ratios are way off within that. But you're doing really good. You have a good sense of choosing the proteins that you like and adding them in your day. And you're starting to learn about what foods are higher and lower fat. So then when you navigate your day on your own without following a meal plan, which isn't something that I would have anybody do, I would more so show examples of your macros put into a food plan for a day, just to show some examples, but it's never something to follow every day, which I'm going to show that as well in your next module. I'm going to show some examples of some meal plan examples that are with your macros, so it'll help. But honestly, you're doing great. You're getting in your protein. You're not going over your fats. Your carbs are great. So that's huge. You want to intuitively navigate your day knowing, okay, I had a big breakfast. It was like 600 calories, and I got a lot of fats and carbs within that. So then you're going to know what to do like later on in your meals in your day. You're not going to do the same thing times 3. So let me see. For Thursday, July 7th, that was a glitch in the system with logging, because I was looking at the calories and they don't, the macros, and they don't match up to the calories. And I calculated it, and it's around 1,800. So, which is totally fine. Like the calories and macros are great. It's just I could tell the calculations were off. So that was a really good day. Really, really good day with your macros. But the only thing to do is start doing your body measurements. It'll be really insightful, especially as you go each month. You may not realize you're making the changes that you are, but when you see them on a chart, you're like, oh, wow, I did lose another inch in my waist and I just haven't realized it. So it's really important to do that. And below, I show the diagram of where to measure, just so you don't have to go searching for it. But yeah, just start doing that every other week. Even if you do it once a month, at least, that'll be great. But I only want you to do it 2 times a month. Okay. So I'm going to go over July 8th of your meals. And this was honestly the only day I could show you how to make improvements, because honestly every day is really good. And like I said, people don't typically start out this way. So but I'm not saying I'm not going to keep doing this and showing you your food logs, because there's always stuff to learn and improve on, always. So this day you hit around 1,500 calories. I'm just going to round up to 1,500 calories, and your protein was a little low. And that was honestly the only thing that I could have suggested to improve on. And I can tell by looking at your foods, you added in a ton of protein dense items like a protein bar, a yogurt, a protein shake, chicken. And you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, what else could I have added in that day? But it could have just boiled down to just doing a bigger portion of the fish or chicken. And maybe, yeah, honestly, that's all I would say, is just maybe upped the portion a little bit of the chicken, because especially chicken, like 1 ounce is a big chunk of protein. So it makes a big difference. And probably the same with fish. And the leaner types of fish are obviously better, but you can still fit in things like salmon. It just depends how the rest of your day around that is. If you had a lot of higher fats, I wouldn't choose salmon for dinner because it has higher fats in it. But that's just an example of what you could do on a different day. But yeah, your breakfast was awesome. I broke it down into the protein dense items, protein, carbs, fats. It was perfect. Your lunch was great. You had your protein, carbs, and fats. And you were very self-aware and conscious of your portion sizes, which a lot of things boil down to portion sizes. It's not so much the food itself. It's just how much of it and how frequent in your day and in your week. And you're really good with that, which is a big learning curve for people to realize, but you're pretty much on top of that. And honestly, awesome that you fit in a drink, like an adult beverage and fries. Carbs and fats are carbs and fats at the end of the day, and the amount that you had of those items, and it's just some are nutrient dense and some aren't. Just like the module where I showed avocado and a banana versus, a Snickers bar, the same macros, they register the same in your body at the end of the day. It's just some have nutrients and some don't. So it's okay to have, one of your items in your day that are not nutrient dense. Even a couple things like the pretzels and the fries, totally fine. You fit it into your macros perfectly. Okay. And with drinks, like alcoholic beverages, the only big thing I tell people to watch out for is adding a lot of the pre-made mixers that have a ton of sugar in them. So obviously high carb, but that might not even be something you like or an issue, but it's just something I like to mention. Those Power Crunch bars are amazing. It almost feels like you're getting in a candy bar when you're not. They are higher fats, which you fit that into your day really well. You didn't go over your fats at all, so that fit into your day perfectly. But yeah, you could start thinking of some different ways to maybe prep one thing per week with a protein dense item. For example, maybe making like an egg salad or a tuna salad or a chicken salad, or even mixing some of those things together like egg and chicken salad. Just something that's going to be pretty lean but high protein. And even by adding in a small portion in your day, it's going to add in a big chunk of protein, like 20 grams. So protein is always the hardest thing to hit. And also the hardest thing to hit without going over your fats, because a lot of people like higher fat proteins, but you're pretty good with that. But even prepping one thing in the beginning of your week can make a big difference with the course of your week. But you're pretty good with hitting protein. So honestly, it's optional if you want to do that. But you could. It would help. It would help just to have something on hand, and you could change it up each week with what it was, with that protein dense item. Moving on. This is the chart that you're going to use to measure. And you just want to be pretty accurate where you measure in the same spot each or every other week, just so it's accurate with the updates. That should help with showing exactly where. And then I just want to show a few examples of some things that'll help with some insight and food for thought type of things. So this is one of my previous clients, and this is over the course of like 3 months, and she lost only like 5 pounds, but she had major body composition changes. And that just meant that she was building a lot of muscle and leaning out. But the scale wasn't showing that yet. It wasn't reflecting it yet. So it was discouraging to her because so many people rely only on the scale for fat loss, but the scale shows so many other things than just fat loss. But there were huge changes going on in her body. She wasn't just doing a lot of cardio and eating in a low calorie bracket and trying to really slim down. The goal is to really change your body composition for a sustainable long-term metabolic change. So she was building muscle, and she was leaning out, and she was losing inches, and her pant size was changing, but in the way of building muscle. So I hope that helps with some insight. And here's just another example of 2 different body compositions with the same weight. So a lot of times people just want to drop calories low. If I eat low calories, lower calories, and just do more workouts, I'm going to get where I want to be. And it's kind of the adverse effect. You might shed some weight, but you're just going to gain it back and probably burn out a lot of your adrenal glands, and your cortisol levels will rise, and that's never good. Just kind of burning your system out. But if you stay the route and just keep truly building muscle and hitting your macros that you have been, you will see changes. And you do have to give yourself a little bit of time. Your body needs time. These things don't happen within a month. People work at this for about 6 months, and then they get to a place where they have made a lot of changes. Their body composition has changed, and they're in a good place where they can kind of maintain and keep flowing in that direction, and put a lot of the work in the beginning of the journey. And then once they get to around, month 5 and 6, they can coast and maintain a lot more easily with what they've created and where they've gotten to at that point. As we go, a lot will make more sense and fall into place. And if you don't have a gratitude journal as a part of your morning routine, or even if you do it every other day or whatever, try this sheet to fill out at the end of the week, and it'll really help. It helps. I love to see these with my clients, but it also just helps you as like an accountability factor, a gratitude factor, and just kind of jotting some things down to be more self-aware. It helps. So if you want to, you can fill this out at the end of each week. And that wraps it up. I hope this helps. From this point on, I'll be sending one macro assessment each week, along with kind of like a recap of things like this with a few other things on there if there's other things to go over and talk about. And then each week or every other week, I'll send a new training module, depending on if you're caught up on the previous stuff. I'll never just send it over if you're kind of behind. So I'll probably wait until next Monday to send your newest training module, like an actual training module on a new topic. So you can catch up on these things and we can focus on this for this week. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I hope this helps and we'll touch base and talk soon.